I have here issue 33 of Timothy McSweeney's Quarterly Concern, the newspaper issue. And this copy is in the printed bag packaging variants. There are two printings and two separate packagings. This one has the printed bag on the front. It's black text on a silver field, and on the back, silver field, and then there's a large clear window, and the text is in silver over that. So here's the bag. On the back, large clear window, and the text is all in silver, which is much more visible. There's a newspaper in the bag. This had a perforated tab at the top of the bag, and that tab is pulled away, and there's a Ziploc bag. The other end, on the back side, the plastic is folded over and glued all the way across. And it's a really solid gluing. It's almost like it's welded on there. But the glue is never really hardened. It's kind of a flexible glue. And I have seen papers that have been, seen several papers that have been opened from the bottom. And most people don't hide that. They just, for whatever reason, and quite a few people did it, they opened it from the bottom, which is kind of a pain. It's a pretty good glue. But the glue never really hardens. Even now, years later, the glue is still tacky. So you can open one up and seal it back together. And so it can be sold as never opened when that's not the case. So if you get one that's never opened, you should examine this bottom edge and see if that's in fact the case. If it opens fairly easily, then it's probably been opened, but it's pretty easy to fake too. If it's carefully opened and then a little more glue is added when it's sealed back over, it's very easily faked. So it's just something to keep in mind if you get one that's never been opened. On this bag, not the other one, but on this bag, it can be opened and resealed from the bottom, nobody ever knowing. Now, the paper itself, we have the front page, San Francisco panorama. And this section includes the inside section, unparalleled bridge, unprecedented cost. Section 2, the tragedy of Mendocino. There's an interior section. Can a paper mill save a forest? This is the opinion and analysis section. That's a full-size newspaper. There's a lot here, and a ton of McSweeney's contributors. The food section, water, a road trip above the fold. The sports section is 3 pieces. The sports section, and inside that, Stephen King on the World Series 2009. And inside this section, a color insert. Two-sided. Big sports section. The comics. The comics has an insert, Rocket Sam. This is on fairly heavy stock because the rocket pieces can all be cut out and you can make your own play rocket. This is a very heavy stock paper here. And the comic section itself. The art section. Arts 1. And Arts 2. Rock on. There is an insert, the panorama information pamphlet. It talks about the 2 printings, the print runs, just a general information about this issue of the panorama. There is the Panorama magazine, which is a pretty healthy magazine. There are points of issue between the 2 printings. The biggest one, the one that jumps out the most, you have a paper that doesn't have a bag. You can identify what bag the paper would have had. The fastest way to do that is from the Panorama magazine. The cover is different between the 2 printings. On one printing, the cover is much more of a yellow, and on the other, the cover is more of a pastel yellow-green. Very clear difference. The Panorama Book Review magazine, another fairly substantial magazine. You have a condition comment here on the Panorama Book Review. It's a staple, 2 staples, binding. The cover is pulling away at the staples. Visible more at the top staple than the bottom staple. On the top staple, you clearly see it's starting to pull away. It's got closed tears right at the top and bottom of the staple. If you open the magazine and look in the gutter, it's more visible from either the front or the back. Open the cover and look in the gutter, and you can see that the cover is pulling away from the staples. You want to be careful with this, but with a perfect one, that's even true. If you flip it just once, you tear the cover right off. So anyway, that is a condition comment on the book review. The cover is at risk of tearing away from the staples and being loose. It's not loose at present, but I mention it so you know. And that is everything in the paper. The San Francisco Panorama. It'll keep you busy reading for a while.